So I don't really buy guitars much more anymore these days. If you've seen any of my content, you know that my main guitar is a Sir Matteo Sasato signature pink Strat, and that's been the case for the last 3 years. And even before that, I've never really owned more than a few guitars at a time. I usually have my 3 guitars that I've had since I was a kid, and I'll still play those, and then one other guitar that's kind of my main guitar. 9 out of 10 times, that's been a Fender Strat. So much so that when I was talking to my girlfriend about this recently, about maybe getting another guitar, and almost feeling bad about it, because I don't want to play a guitar that's not my Sir, she jokingly referred to me as monogamous with guitars. And there's a part of her that's correct. I don't want to buy another guitar. I don't like playing other guitars. I like my Sir. But that was until I came across this guitar. This is the PRS SE NF53. I've owned it for the past week and gigged it all week, and it has done nothing short but blown my mind. So if you're unfamiliar with this instrument at all, let me give you a brief history. A couple years ago, PRS came out with a signature model with Miles Kennedy, as well as a standard version in their core series called the NF53. It was kind of another controversial guitar in that it was PRS, once again, kind of going for Fender's market. We saw this a number of years ago with the Silver Sky, obviously the now extremely popular and beloved S-style guitar from PRS, that they created in collaboration with John Mayer. We now saw it once again with this guitar. Albeit the controversy, I say that term loosely, but wasn't nearly as huge as it was back then with the Silver Sky, but it was still there nonetheless. The comment I saw a lot when researching what guitar to get and researching this guitar is everyone commenting on that video of those guitars, the core version, which is around the $3,000 price point, saying, oh man, if PRS ever makes an SE version of this, I'm sold. I'm so in. I'm ready. Let's do it. And everyone was like, it's only a matter of time. Well, a few short months ago, we finally got it. So the story of how I came across this guitar, and to preface, PRS did not send me this. I went to my local guitar center down the street that had them in stock, tried it, and bought it with my own money. So how did I get to this guitar specifically? I'd completely forgotten about the NF53. I haven't even thought about buying a new guitar. But over the last couple months, I've been loosely in the back of my mind wondering and kind of thinking about, okay, it would be nice to have some kind of dual pickup guitar instead of a Strat. And there was a couple different things that came to mind. The top of the mind was a Novo, which if you saw I was fortunate enough to borrow a Novo a couple months ago and got to do a video on it, and that was an incredible guitar. It was a Novo Ceres P2 with dual P90s. It was awesome. Go check it out if you haven't seen that video. But I'm, to be frank with you guys, I'm not in a spot where I can afford to spend $4,000 on a guitar at the moment. And so I was kind of somewhere in the $1,000 to $1,500 price range. And I actually had a guitar in the back of my mind. I'm like, man, if I could find one of these, I would be stoked. And I'd probably go with that option. And that was actually an American Elite Fender Telecaster from when they first did the American Elite series back in, I want to say, 2017 or 2018. And the specific one that I'm talking about, this was the only exception I was willing to make if I was going to get this guitar, is the butterscotch blonde they did with the black binding. I think that was one of the coolest guitars ever. I worked at a music store in Washington when they first announced them and they came out, so we had them all the time. I always loved the look of it. I love a 50s butterscotch Telly. I never got one, so I was like, I was kind of loosely keeping an eye out. I would check Reverb every now and then. I would check Facebook Marketplace, locally in LA. I was like, if I ever come across one of those guitars kind of in the price range that I have in my mind, I'm going to grab one. And then about a month ago or 2 months ago, I started a new gig with a buddy of mine at this church, and he also plays a HSS Sir. So we would joke about that with each other all the time. And then, of course, that kind of sped up the process for me. It kind of planted the seed in my mind of, well, we're playing the same guitar. Maybe it would be good to, have a little variety on stage, so we're not playing the same thing, even though no one noticed, no one cared. And it just was my brain manipulating itself into convincing me that I need a new guitar. If you're a guitar player, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We all do it. So I'm talking to him about it, and we're kind of going back and forth between what Telly I should get and whatnot. And for whatever reason, this guitar, the core version, randomly popped in my mind. I'm like, well, how much are those? I look it up, and I see that they a couple months ago came out with the SE version. And I'm like, wait a minute. There's a version of this guitar that's $1,000 now. It's $979. So I start looking at the specs, and I'm like, this is kind of checking off a lot of boxes for me. I like the finish. I like the dog hair style finish. You can see the grain. It's an ash body, which I like on Tellys. Seemingly has a big 50s Telly neck. The pickups from videos sound very single, even though they are humbuckers. They are very single coil. Because one thing about me, and if I'm going to buy a guitar, I kind of basically need it to be noiseless. I'm in the position where if I'm buying an instrument, it needs to be it's very much a tool. Like, I don't really buy a guitar for fun anymore these days to just have and play at home. It needs to be something that I can take on the road. So that really kind of takes a lot out of guitars that are just with standard single coils. That's part of the reason I like the Sir, is it's got their silent single coil system in it, so I can play it on a stage with a bunch of LED lights or bad power or whatever else, and it's going to be dead quiet. I can't really take just a standard Telecaster out. It needs to have some kind of noiseless pickup. So these humbuckers, use that term loosely, they're technically humbuckers, sounded very single coily. They sound very much like a Telecaster. So watching some demos, I was very immediately drawn to this guitar. It has a neck that's based off of Paul Reed Smith's own 53 Telecaster. That's where the name comes from, NF53. The name, if you don't know, the name comes from two things. It's the pickups and the neck. So NF is for these pickups, which are called deep dish, narrow field humbucking pickups. And they've got basically multiple extra magnets around each string to kind of give it a more narrow field, I believe. I'm not an engineer. Feel free to tell me I'm wrong in the comments if I am. But, that's kind of the way these pickups are built is what gives them that single coily type of a tone despite being a humbucker. And then the neck is a massive 50s Telly neck, which I absolutely love. Quick side story about me. This side story is about two things. One, I never buy a guitar sight unseen anymore. I've done it twice in my entire career as a guitar player. Both times have gone bad. Maybe I'll tell the second story one day. Who knows? But for this one, the one time I did have, like I said earlier, I love 52 Telly. I've always wanted a 52 reissue. I just, for whatever reason, never got one, except for this one time. I had come across a American Deluxe telly that I had, and I had customized it and swapped the pickups. I kind of did my own thing to it. And a guy had posted he had a 90s 52 reissue telly for sale. He posted up for sale or trade. I can't remember where he was, but it wasn't local. We'd have to ship our guitars. So I messaged him like, hey man, I've got this American Strat. It's been upgraded with these pickups. It's this, this and that. Would you be interested in trading for your telly? He said he was down. We both decided to ship our guitars and just cover our own shipping cost. I shipped mine very well because I worked at a music store at the time and I know how to pack a guitar. He shipped his horribly. Like the worst shipping job I've ever seen. It's a miracle the guitar didn't come completely broken, but it did have in the upper corner a chunk of the finish just had popped off. Thankfully, I was able to find the piece and somewhat repair it, but I mean, yeah, I was not happy to begin with. Secondly, I had somehow ended up with, I didn't know this before, and I thought all 52 reissue tellies had the big 50s neck, but in a very specific era in the 90s, they decided, let's make a 52 reissue Telecaster with a slim scene neck. So the whole reason I wanted this guitar was for the neck and the look. The finish came damaged and the neck was super thin. So I repaired the finish to the best of my ability. I think the guy maybe sent me like $100 back or something like that. I don't know. And then I sold it immediately. It didn't stick around. Like part of me was tempted to keep the body and try and get another neck and sell just this neck. But I ended up just selling it and I moved on. And again, like I said, since then, haven't bothered with buying a guitar sight unseen or trading for a guitar sight unseen. That was a tough lesson learned, but here we are now. So this guitar now, big 50s telly neck, couldn't be more thrilled. That is one thing though that I want to emphasize. If you are someone who doesn't like a big neck, this is a big neck. And, it's if you've played a vintage telly, but if you're thinking about getting it, I would say go try one to make sure you like the neck. If you have smaller hands or you like a regular C neck, you might not like this neck that much. I love it. I think it's super comfy, but just to put it out there, if you like a smaller or regular size neck, this one is on the bigger end of the scale. So I'm super stoked about that. Super stoked with the sound. And I tried it out before I had church and I was like, all right, the bones are there. I like the guitar. I was able to put the money together in a couple days. Came back, I finished a long day at a session and it was like 8:15. I got home and I called my girlfriend. I'm like, hey, I think I want to go just get the guitar, even though it's like 8:15. It's like Guitar Center is like 20 minutes away. They close at 9. I'm not going to be that guy. I just was like, I'm just going to run in, buy the guitar, run out. And so I go, they only had this one white one left. And so I go, all right, cool, just give me that one. Great. It was the one on the wall. It had been just put out, whatever else. I tried it a couple minutes before, liked it, great, bought it, left, good to go. And this is another side story, sorry. But this is also, I want to ask you guys this, if this is something that's ever happened to you, because I had a very weird experience when I first got this guitar and was actually really sad when I first took it home and plugged it in. So for context, me and my girlfriend, we were house sitting for some friends of ours. And so I get home, I hadn't seen my girlfriend all day, so I hang out with her for a little bit. Then she goes to bed and I go to my buddy's office. I set up my pedal board and I set up my new guitar. I plug it in, and the first thing I hear when I plug it in, I put on my headphones, is just this crazy buzz, and I'm immediately devastated because I've worked on a lot of guitars, I've built guitars and whatever else, so I know I'm like, this is a grounding issue. The ground wire is probably disconnected. I'm like, I'm mentally going through, I'm like, do I return it? But this is the only one that they have left in this color, and I like this color. I don't want the other colors, and I also had a week full of gigs that I was looking forward to road testing with this guitar. I didn't want to have to wait, the couple days it would take to get another brand new one in stock. So do I just fix it if it's a ground issue? If it's a ground wire, it's not the biggest deal in the world. I just kind of got unlucky. But the frustrating part is it's like 11 p.m. and I'm like looking all over my buddy's office and a bit in his house, and I can't find a Phillips screwdriver to save my life so I can open up the guitar and see if it's a ground issue or not. So I'm like, I guess I just have to go to bed. Wake up the next morning. First thing I do, get in my car, go to my apartment. Thankfully we only live like 10 minutes away from our friends. Get my, little screwdriver kit, extra set of strings, my soldering iron, whatever else. I'm like, I am fixing this thing. I don't want to return it. I want to keep it, or I at least want to try and make sure it works before I do return it. Take off the strings, open it up. Everything's hooked up perfectly normal. Everything's hooked up fine. So I'm like, okay, I guess I got a broken one. Pretty bummed, but I'm like, it's not the end of the world. I'll try another one. I get it. I've worked in music retail. Sometimes even like some of the best companies, that PRS has some of the best quality control. Sometimes you just get a dud, and it's, and that's okay. That doesn't mean the guitar is bad, doesn't mean the company's bad. And so I've talked to my girlfriend. I'm like, yeah, I guess, we're gonna run some errands. Let's go to Guitar Center and, return the guitar. And she's like, well, why don't you take it home? Like, I know it's annoying, but go back to the apartment again. I should have just done this to begin with, but take the quad cord, take your gear home, take your laptop home, plug it in at home through your speakers, through your setup. Oh, because quick side note, not to backtrack, but I also thought, I was like, oh, maybe it's bad power in this apartment. But I plugged in my pink guitar, my Sir, and it was fine. Like, no noise, no nothing. So it was really weird, which is what told me, I was like, all right, this is a ground issue with this guitar. But I'm like, you know what, you're right. Before I return it, I'm like, take the extra couple minutes. We'll stop at home first. I'll bring my gear, plug it in here. Totally fine. No buzz, nothing. Even on like high gain settings, it is like astonishingly quiet. And so I'm like, all right, maybe it is just an issue with this specific, like this guitar and their house. There's some weird power thing going on. And again, I'm like, not even saying this as like a proceed with caution thing at all. Like, I think it was some anomaly. I think this guitar is 100% fine and good. So I was like, all right, well, that gives me enough confidence to, at least this is Saturday, to then now take it to church tomorrow to play. And I brought my Sir with me as well, just in case, like anything where if I felt I needed to switch or whatever else. But played it at church all morning, totally fine. No buzz, no nothing. I've played it every single night basically since. Yeah, totally fine. It's just somewhere. So again, I'll just say, if you've had any weird experiences like this with house power and specific guitars or whatever, leave them in the comments below, because I have never experienced something like that. I thought it was so weird. But yeah, sounds great. So now, like I said, we're a week, a little over a week later. I spent all week playing it for gigs and everything else like that, and just at home and recording and this and that. What are my thoughts? And to be completely honest, this guitar is, apart from a few things, damn near perfect. It really is. I really like it. It took some tweaking, and it took a little bit of getting used to. But again, that's more of a me thing than it is the guitar's thing. But I think it plays great. I think it looks great. The only thing I would say to be leery of, that you maybe would be cautious about, or whatever, really just would be the looks. I've owned a Silver Sky, and so I'm kind of already used to the PRSification of Fender style guitars, whether it's a T style or a S style. So this was kind of just par for the course for me. I'm like, yeah, I'm used to PRS. I like PRS. To me, it kind of looks like a Tele mixed with a Gibson Melody Maker, because it's kind of got this, the way the pickguard is shaped, kind of, that's what it reminds me of personally. I think it's a cool and unique look. I love the dog hair finish. I used to do demos for a company called Jennings Guitars. They used to do dog hair finishes all the time. I've always really liked it, but again, it's not everyone's cup of tea. They make this, quick specs wise, they make this in dog hair black and white, white and black, which is this one, and then a pearl white. So if you don't want the dog hair finish, there's a pearl white option. And I'm sure in the future they're going to come out with more colors like they usually do for their SEs and stuff. But at the moment of filming, those are your three options. So things to kind of consider that you might put you off, I would just say, are mostly aesthetic. Like, for example, this is a 3-piece body. So you're going to see with this, with the dog hair finishes specifically, you're going to see the seams, unless you can find, maybe you can try and find one that's a little bit better grain matched or something, but you're going to see the seams between the 3 pieces versus a higher end guitar would most likely be made out of like a 2-piece body. The back of the neck has a scarf joint, which is better for stability. Some people don't like it. Some people want a traditional headstock. I'm not one of those people. One thing that seriously bugs me though, that I will say that this is probably there's two things. One's a smaller thing that I don't really fault them for because I get it to an extent. Two, the other thing is it's just for me, it's just annoying. Smaller thing, would have been nice to have locking tuners on this guitar. I feel like that's getting increasingly more and more common for guitars in this price range, as guitars that are made overseas in like places like China and Indonesia that are coming closer to the $1,000 price point, they are coming with higher end features like locking tuners. So that would have been nice, but not the end of the world. What makes it the end of the world, though, and very frustrating, is this bridge. So if you don't know, the way this bridge hooks in is you basically hook the strings in through a little hole on the top of the bridge and pull it through. And if I'm doing something wrong, feel free to tell me I'm a moron in the comments and whatever else. But the way that I'm restringing this guitar, and I've done it twice now, pull the string through, hold it here, bring it up through the string peg. I pull it back about the length of a fret, maybe a little bit less depending on how risky I'm feeling. And this thing just immediately just pops out. And so you kind of got to back and forth it a little bit to get it to sit right. And I'm just not a fan of that. Just give me a string through body design, like a traditional Telecaster. I don't know why we're doing this. And I'm not even talking from a tonal perspective. I think this guitar sounds incredible. I'm not like trying to make the argument of, oh, tonally speaking, it would have sounded better as well if it was. No, this guitar sounds massive. But just from a simple restring perspective, because this doesn't have, again, if this had locking tuners, that issue would be significantly decreased because you could just pull it tight at the end here and then just lock it into place immediately and just tune it up to pitch and you're good to go. But it doesn't. So that is something I will be changing. I'm going to be buying locking tuners for this guitar. Other things, frets feel pretty good. They're not perfect, but really, really nice. I might go get the guitar plecked just because I'm used to my Sir, which does have basically perfect fret ends, but I would definitely say you do not need to. Like, at least with the one that I bought, I've played it for a week, and after a week, I'm even kind of like, I don't even know if I need or want to go get it plecked, because you really don't feel them too much. You just barely feel them, and it's kind of only if you're trying to feel them, if that makes sense. Those would be my only, I guess, complaints or, gripes with the guitar. But everything other than that, I think if you're in the market for a guitar kind of like this, if you want a T-style guitar, not even specifically T-style, because this definitely kind of falls into like big sounding Les Paul kind of a vibe sometimes as well. Like, it's a lot more versatile than just a PRS makes a Telecaster guitar. I've used it for a lot and everything, but it does that sound really well, as well as a lot of other sounds. So if you're looking for that like kind of T-style dual pickup guitar kind of a sound, and you're in the $1,000 price point, I think you absolutely cannot go wrong with this instrument. I think it sounds great. I personally love the looks. And if you like the bigger neck, go try one. That's always my suggestion, though. Go put your hands on the instrument. Go try it out. Even if you buy a new one, at least go try one in store to make sure you like how it sounds and feels, because everything is so subjective and so different. But in terms of quality and overall sound and playability and everything, I think this guitar is... I think they nailed it. I think it's a really great instrument. So I'm looking forward to playing it. I've been playing it all week. I haven't wanted to put it down. I'm looking forward to playing it more. And I'm looking forward to using it in more content for other videos and stuff. That was part of the reason I wanted to get another guitar, was to use another guitar in more content for more versatility for you guys as well. So if you have any questions about the guitar, leave them down below and let me know what you guys think. And if you can as well, please, of course, like, comment, and subscribe. We are 150 subscribers from our goal to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you can help me out with that, if you like the content, please do that. That would mean a lot. So thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful... Oh, also, quick side note, if you liked some of the tones you're hearing today, you can download some of my Quad Cortex patches. I've linked below my profile. The only thing is those are with stock cabinets versus I use IRs. I've also linked the IRs that I do use if you want to get those as well. Not a sponsored or anything, but I just wanted to be transparent and tell you what I'm using I've also decided to make a full version of the patches if you just want to download those and not mess with the IRs. So those are all available down below. Let me know what you guys think of them. And as I make more patches and presets, I'm going to try and make them readily available for you guys. So yeah. All right. Have a great rest of your day, guys.